right, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally to the point where we can write equation of a line on decimals. A lot of times when we give you a word problem, we'll give you, instead of an equation, we'll give you a table instead. So the first thing you can do is you can use your calculator, use your decimals to help you write the equation of whatever table they give you, right? This is what we call linear regression. Linear regression, like anytime you see the word regression right there, it really just means equation. Right, that's all it means. It just means equation. Give me a linear equation. Well, how do I do that? In order to get the linear equation, I need to take the table and put it into our decimals. So let me split screen this real quick so that you can see how I can do this with my decimal. Here's my decimal. I already got the table written down. Like, if you don't know how to put the table in, this is what you do. You go to this plus sign, click on it, click add table, and then it's gonna pop up a little table like this. You're gonna wanna type in every single number you see on the table in decimals. Exactly like what I did. Okay, if you haven't done it already, pause the video, type in out a number. You have to type in every single number. You can't just type in just the first couple, just the first 2 or 3. Okay, type in all of the numbers. All right, now that you typed in your number, this is why we like decimals. Decimals makes everything easier. If you see this little button right here on the upper left-hand corner, it has 4 dots in the line. You hover over it, it says add regression. All you have to do is click on that button, and it's gonna pop up with a linear regression. Remember, regression is the same thing as equation. So it's the saying, hey, I'm giving you the linear equation. There is this linear equation right here. Right, and the other thing that you would need, if the question asks you, hey, write an equation for this table, you just copy down this equation and you got your answer. Now the other number that you're gonna find helpful is an R value right here. It says R equals, and then it'll give you a decimal value. And right now we're gonna talk about what that decimal value means. Let me go ahead and go back into full screen. Okay. Back onto our notes, right? At the bottom, it says key point 6. What does that R value means? Remember, we talked about, hey, look, this is R value in decimals. What does it tell me? This R value is called the correlation coefficient. You might think, wait, we talked about correlation before. Oh yeah, you did. Correlation is the exact same thing we talked about earlier, either positive correlation or negative correlation or no correlation, right? So the coefficient just means it's a number. What that number tells you are these two things. What the R, remember, correlation is the R value, right here, sorry, R value is the same thing as this R value. This is my correlation coefficient. Right? That's the R value. That's your correlation coefficient. What does it tell you? It tells you 2 things. It tells us 2 things. What are the 2 things? 1, it's either whether the data is positive or negative. And the second thing, if it's strong or weak. Sorry, I left out the second blank. Strong or weak. You're like, Miss, how do I even know that? How can I tell if something is strong or if something is weak? Well, that's where the number comes in. So let's take a look at this example right here. If I know that the R, just by looking at my decimal, R is equals to 0.9884. So I'm going to write that down. 0.9884. Right, that's my correlation coefficient. What does it mean? Well, I'm going to change it to a percent. How do I change it to a percent? I take that decimal and I move it 2 units to the right. Let's make sure I'm not going too thick. Okay, there we go. Take the decimal and I go 1 unit, 2 unit to the right. So what that ends up being would be 98.84. And now I just change that into a percent. That's how many percent of the points are accurate on the lines. So this is 98.84% accurate. Well, it's like a test. If you make a 98.88% on a test, that's a really strong grade. That's how I know that this is strong. These points that I gave you has a very strong positive or negative coefficient. If you look at that number, that correlation number is a positive number. So this is a positive, strong right? It has a strong positive correlation, strong positive relation. That's what that R stands for. It means that you can depend on this line for the most accurate prediction. Right? Now, if that percentage, let's say if you take your R and your percentage turned into like 2%, that means that you have a 2% accurate equation. So that means that that's going to be a really weak, but it's still positive because the R number is still positive. So you have a weak positive relation if that percent was 2%. But because this is so close to 100%, this is a really strong one. You know for sure that if you use this equation to make prediction, your prediction is most likely going to be right. It's 98% chance that it's going to be right. Okay, so that's what that R stands for. And in a little bit, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at an example of how we can do all of this stuff using our calculator.